Hello again, welcome back to another Be Connected session. With you as always is myself, I'm Emily. I work at the Hallett Cove Library for the City of Marion Library System Service. And I'm back again today, another Be Connected session. Today we're looking at bringing you an introduction to your Windows computer. This has been highly asked for. I get quite a few questions. There's one side of the fence where we've got lots of Mac and Apple users, and then the other half that are looking to get more functionality out of their PC, their personal computer, or their desktop computer, or their laptop that runs on Windows 10. We are looking at Windows 10 specifically, but some of these features can translate to older models. Though most older editions of Windows, older editions, have sort of stopped being looked after by Windows, as in they're not producing new updates and things like that. It's no longer supported. So Windows 10 is the newest one, and we'll have a look at what that looks like in a little bit, and I'll show you what I'm working with here at work. I can give you a little bit of a brief show of things like opening context boxes and things like that. So let's start by going through what we're going to look at today. We're going to start off by looking at the Be Connected website. I do this every time we have every webinar. We talk about essentially where I'm getting the information from and places where you can find out more. So we'll talk about Be Connected in a bit. We'll look at what even is Windows 10. We'll look at how to secure your PC day to day, and then some long-term effects of what you can do to look after your PC. Again, PC just being personal computer. If I interchange between PC and computer, it's just because, I want to use a bit of both. We'll look at system settings and accessibility. So important key features that everyone should know how to find, and fine tune them to what you like best. So really get your preferences up to snuff and to see what they're asked. There's quite a few to check through. So we'll go through a few of the basic ones, and then from there you can start exploring and feeling more comfortable with changing settings as you go. We'll look at managing your files, mostly just on the desktop, getting things tidy, sorting them by name or date, things like that. Some tips and tricks which are very specific to Windows 10. So even if you've been using a different model of Windows, these tips and tricks are going hopefully to surprise you, or you'll be reminded of them, or you'll be using them already and appreciate them as well. And we'll get into questions if we have any at the end. And feel free to pop them in the chat box if you'd like an answer, and I'll answer it as I go. So let's look at Be Connected. Be Connected is an Australian government initiative, and it's essentially just getting everyone online, getting people comfortable with using online technology. Huge range of topics to choose from, everything, and I'll show you in a second, everything from extremely beginner level all the way up to you've got your own PC, you're looking to use it. Last few weeks we've done things like digital photography, jumping onto iPads, things like that. So it really kind of has everything on there. It's easy to use, and you can sign up yourself to keep track of your training. This is great if you appreciate ticking boxes and like to get things done. It can keep track of what you've already essentially learnt, and then give you suggestions as well. So let's jump over to the Be Connected website. I've got it here. Lovely updated bluey green color. So today we're looking into PCs, so Windows. Let's open up the topic library, and you can find this just by typing Be Connected into Google. So I scroll down, so past the basics, past all this general stuff that could apply to most technology, getting into more specific things like iPads, and here we are, Windows Desktop getting started and Windows Laptop. These two are fairly similar. I don't find any differences, so I'm focusing on desktop for the most part, but these can all translate to laptop as well. Some of your Windows laptops might be able to switch functions and turn into a tablet as well. So you've got a little bit of extra functionality where you can carry around your laptop with a keyboard, and then at any time take off the keyboard and just start using it as a tablet with your finger or pen if you've got one. So if you were to look into Windows Desktop getting started, this is what we're looking at today. The brilliant part about Be Connected is that it's a mix of step-by-step sort of slideshow courses. It's got a mix of video, interactive, which we'll look at in a second because I love it, as well as totally printable guides. So if you were to pick, say, if we were to go into security and privacy, they come with a lovely, nice long video. You can just sit back and listen. So it's much like what I'm doing today, but add a bit of flair. Other than that, they let you print off a PDF version of the course. So if you've got anyone that isn't online yet, or they're not comfortable with hopping online, you can print off the course for them, and you can do that at the library. So let me go through very briefly the interactive guide, which essentially looks over, gives you a brief overview of what your computer is, where things are on your computer. So looking at it first, you may notice that there on this right-hand side, there is a tower. Not all PCs have a tower these days. Sometimes they're an all-in-one system, meaning that everything is stuck in the screen. So you've just got this monitor here, but it also acts as the computer's main hard drive as well within it. So you may not see a computer tower, but they're still around, of course, and they give you a lot more functionality. You know, I can't say like all the proper terms without making myself sound silly, because I truly don't know them that well. So I won't go for it today. But from this guide, you can introduce someone to certain aspects of a Windows computer, and it's got this for you know, iMac, for Apple devices as well, and it just goes through each of the settings. And I'll go through these as well with you, but let's just go through them now. That's fine. So the start menu, if you're using Windows 10, it'll have these, I think they call them life tiles, or they used to be called life tiles, which are essentially these little tile-like app layout, just sort of a clean way to show what apps you've got going on, what programs you can run. You can access this by just hitting the start menu, bottom right-hand corner. You just click on that little window symbol and it'll bring up your start menu. From here, it lets you turn on and off your computer, log in and out, change settings, and I'll talk about how to find settings later in case we need a refresher. As well as you could just type directly into the window itself. You can type down here and start searching for things you're looking for on your computer. Windows is nice and clever. You can type in even a Google search and it'll do it right there. Of course, it's going to be using Bing because it's not Google, of course. And Microsoft and Google, they're not necessarily rivals, but they're not partners. They work together on some things, but Microsoft wants you to use their search engine. They've made Bing, so they want you to use Bing. So Bing will come up first. That's the start menu, and it will look at, yeah, you can search things, open your mail, etc. So this is a brilliant interactive guide for a little bit more of a closer look at these, what you've got access to with your computer. But we'll just breeze back to PowerPoint now, just because I can't spend all day on one thing. I'd love to, but we'll definitely get over an hour, and I'm trying to keep it low, keep it quick. I don't want to keep you here for too long. So what is Windows 10? I've got this cute little star map behind. So it's a Windows operating system. It's operating systems allow your computer to run their basic functions. So it's the backbone of the computer. It's more than just code. It's the system by which you as the consumer, the user of the computer, view all your programs and things. So it just makes it a lot easier to use, a lot kinder on the eyes. And they add extra functionality with each update, which we'll talk about in our tips and tricks section. The latest edition, this is it, Windows 10, was released in 2015. And because it is the current supported model of Windows, they come out with new features and install them on your computer for you. And then you can look up what they are. Oftentimes, if you get a new update and you open your computer for the first time, it'll say, welcome to your updated computer. Look what we have to show you now. And it adds extra functionality, extra programs, extra usage, which is what we're going to look at, and so you don't miss out on anything. So let's skim through to how to keep your PC secure, how to keep your computer from getting hacked or logged into without your knowledge, things like that. The safest way to keep your computer safe, as many people know, to turn it off. Turning it off means that it's not going to be running anything in the background. It's not accessing power. It's just sitting there, waiting to be turned back on again. You can lock the screen from the start menu. That's another option. So let's see if this works for me. Holding my breath just in case it doesn't work. Okay, I can show my screen, portion of screen. Here we go. Aha, let me take you down. Sorry to make you sick from moving my screen too much. Here we go. So you can open from the start menu, the way to log off and to lock your screen. You'll notice again, we've got these live tiles, pictures of myself from previous sessions. I have to make sure I look okay, of course. Sorry. The way to log off from here or to turn off your computer is to hit the power button, and from here you can shut down. Logging off, of course, lets you log off from here. You can sign out, as well as finding documents and photos and other settings, which we'll look at in a little bit. You can also lock your screen from, let me bring this back, one moment. And there we go. You think I'd be getting faster at this the more I do it. I'm just so slow each time. You can have an automatic lock turned on your computer. For most computers, it comes preset with about, I think it's about 10 minutes or 5 minutes without having touched your screen, having moved your mouse, and your computer will go to sleep, essentially. It'll lock the front screen, and then it'll turn the screen off. The computer still works in the background, it's on. It hasn't closed your programs, but it is sitting there mostly just asleep. So it's not using any unnecessary power, because it doesn't know when you're going to come back, of course. So you come back, you wiggle your mouse, it comes up with, login. And we'll have a look at the login in just a second. And it also comes with pre-installed virus protection. Microsoft products do. Some people like to add their own additional products. I've not looked into what you currently get with Windows 10, or if it's just with brand new computers you're buying. But most often they're going to be coming with virus protection. Virus protection is great, or what should I say? It is just malware protection. It's great for people, especially who are surfing the internet and going quite deep. So going into sort of not shady websites, but just unsecure websites. And that can happen at any time. If you're looking at your, in your web browser, if you're seeing an HTTP and not an HTTPS in the address bar, the S stands for secure, meaning that the site is encrypted, meaning that no one could hop onto the same website that you're on at the same time and access your details. So that's kind of the short version. So generally, your browser is going to be keeping you safe. Browser being either something like Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer is the older beloved version. Chrome is brilliant. Firefox for those of us who like to be a little more individual. Safari I do not recommend, unfortunately. That is a Apple Mac browser, and they've not optimized it very well. But Chrome is generally the safest bet, highly encrypted, meaning, yeah, again, it's safe to travel the internet. But of course, you do have to be vigilant still. You can't just hope for the best for the most part. I mean, you can for sure, but you do have to be careful when browsing certain websites, looking out for that, the S for secure. Your browser will tell you if the site is unsecure for the most part. And don't click on any unnecessary links, anything suspicious, of course. So be wary and keep an eye out. But let's have a look at lock screens and what you can expect when you open up your computer after it's been locked. So this one is all the way back from December. That's the only picture I could find because, of course, I couldn't screenshot my own lock screen. And we'll talk about how to do screenshots on Windows 10. It's called the snipping tool, or the snip and select tool. It has a couple of different names depending on which version you have. They all do the same thing. You can access the lock screen. You can just lock your computer by hitting Windows key and L. The Windows key, let me show you, just lifting up my whole keyboard, is this one here. So it's on the left-hand side of your keyboard, and it's just beyond the control function Windows key. It just looks like a little 4-pane window, the symbol for Windows, of course. So you can hit the Windows key and L to lock your screen, and it has alternating photo backgrounds. So this can change every day or every few days. You can even have them change every hour, or have a little slideshow set up so they change every few seconds. If you like having a nice background going on, that's totally something you can do, and I'll show you how to do that later. And then when logging on, we've got a lovely Jennifer Gentleman has given us an example here. This is how you log on after you've been logged out or locked yourself out. It shows your username and a photo if you've provided one, and it will ask for your password or PIN. Passwords are more secure than PINs, but they've got a double encryption going there with password and PIN set up. So all PCs will ask you to make a PIN. I don't know if you can get around with not having one at all, but a PIN can just be a 4-digit anything. Even if it's in your own private home, you don't have any visitors that, you know, are a little suspicious and maybe want to get on your computer without your permission. it's always going to have a pin anyway. So even if you're extremely comfortable with your computer just sort of not having a lock screen, it's always going to ask for a pin. And you can dial up or dial down the level of protection with logging in each time. And I'll show you how to do that in settings in a little bit. Aha, right now. Why wait? So as I said before, we'll open settings through the start menu. Window settings are grouped by their topic. You can update things like date, time, language, brightness, etc. And you can type what you're looking for straight into the search bar. So again, at the very bottom left-hand corner of your screen, which would be over here, I think that's left on your screen. At the bottom, it'll have a little search here and a little Cortana symbol, and I'll talk about Cortana in a bit as well. So let's have a look at what kind of settings you get. So you first open up your system settings, Windows settings. Again, it's with this little gear icon. Let me bring it over. Okay, I don't have it there. It's with a little gear icon on the left-hand side. And I can show you again if you'd like, because I know it'll be very easier. Okay, let's have a look. Portion of screen. Yes, come down here. Join me. So Windows symbol, bottom left-hand corner. Give it a click. And please let me know if you can't see this. It's not letting me know otherwise. And then left-hand corner, just above the power button, little gear symbol says settings. Brilliant. We'll just leave that. Hello. Leave that there for now. We'll jump back to our other screen. There we go. So you have everything from general system settings to your network and internet settings, other devices you may like to add. You can link your phone to your computer. It's a cool system. Personalizing, that's a lot of fun. That's changing backgrounds, themes, colors, all that stuff. Really just sort of making your computer your own and really customizing it to your taste. Accounts, so things you've logged on with. We've got Cortana as well, which we'll talk about in just a second. Apps, privacy, ease of access, just about everything here. And you're absolutely welcome to click through and open all of these. Do not be scared to try clicking through them. Anything you click can be reversed from the screen. It's not irreversible stuff. It's not like you're opening up the actual computer code sort of command center, essentially. So this is where you're allowed to play. So I highly recommend jumping in and giving it a go. But I think we'll give it a go together. What do you think? Let's open it up on my screen. Oh, okay. Will it let me? There it is, settings. So mine are a light green color, kind of a bright green. So something I would like to show you first is jumping into system settings. Now, it's a little overwhelming to begin with. Things like your iPad and phone have a similar setup where they'll have a general topic, and then on this right-hand side is where they expand upon them and let you adjust sliders, turn things on and off, confirm and deny things as you go. So one of the things I'd like to look at first, let's go with display, how to change your brightness. This is the quickest way. I don't know, some keyboards will have a brightness setting. Mine does at the top with function keys. Yeah, little stars, small star, big star. So you can change it with your keyboard. If you can't find that on your keyboard, jump into your system settings and go into display, and you can brighten and darken your screen. For you at home, this won't change a difference. It really is just my screen, how much light is coming through. The quality of the screen will look the same to you on the video. You can change resolution. I wouldn't look around with this too much. Just leave it on the recommended unless you know what you're wanting to change. You can add multiple displays as well. Sound, volume, where your sound is coming from. You can see my microphone talking down here. Hello. Inputs, things like that. Sound settings have become, for me, a little bit of a bane of my existence. With everyone doing video conferencing and chatting online with video and doing things like webinars, I had quite the time setting up my sound devices. So if anyone feels the same way, I deeply sympathize. So same thing, power and sleep. So when your computer will turn off, things like that. Focus assist, this is when you're getting notifications from your computer. Things like dings from emails, messages on like Facebook or Messenger, whatever you're using on your computer. These can be turned off or sort of limited depending on what you're doing. So mine will only play alarms when I'm duplicating my display, meaning that if I had my screen up on a TV, I wouldn't start presenting, for example, I wouldn't be getting all these notifications popping up and disturbing the presentation. That's a nice setting to have on. Otherwise, these are just extremely general. If you're looking for something in particular, this is where to find extremely general settings where they can be updated quite quickly. But what I want to look into is a little bit more specialized updates, changing things. So let's move over to accessibility options. So we can use things like Cortana, Cortana being your voice activated assistant, essentially. If you're familiar with Siri, Cortana is extremely similar. You do have to turn it on though. So Cortana needs to access the internet in order to follow through with your request. Oftentimes because you may be searching something, you might be updating a calendar, but also because the voice activation needs to be run through an AI or just sort of a bigger brain that will know what you're saying. Everyone has their own accent, language, of course. So they go to a database where they've got, okay, this is an Australian accent or a etc. accent, whatever you have. It'll run it through similar accents like yours, and it'll be able to tell what you're trying to say. If we all spoke in very plain American, I'm sure it'll be much easier from the computer, but of course we're much more nuanced than that. So it'll run through a data bank of what they've collected, people that have volunteered to give this information. I was looking up just to see how safe is Cortana. I was going, can your voice be duplicated in some way or synthesized to be used with not great means? I was looking into it, and it is encrypted on both sides, meaning that the information you send through is totally locked down, and the information sent back is as well. So there isn't going to be some hacker in between catching your voice and trying to use it for misdemeanors, who knows. But yeah, so it's quite safe. So don't feel like you have to use Cortana, but also don't feel that it's something that's going to stop you. Cortana can be quite fun. Much like Siri, you can just have a quick conversation with it. Things like tell me a joke. What do you think of this, and this? It can be quite fun. Very good for people who need that extra accessibility. So if you aren't comfortable on the keyboard or just don't have a keyboard available at the time, you can just say, hey, Cortana, and then you can ask your request. It can do anything from opening new windows. You can type through text using just text to speech to text. And it can do lots of other functions, play music, record things, etc. So Cortana is very fun. You do have to turn it on, meaning that if you go to the bottom of your screen, there is a small microphone in the search bar. If you click that, it'll say, would you like to turn Cortana on? And you just have to say yes. And you can turn it off at any time, meaning that it won't be actively listening for that hey Cortana phrase. I think it's hey Cortana. It's definitely something along those lines. I think even if you just said Cortana, it would help. But essentially Cortana, Windows version of Siri. So if you know what Siri is, you know what Cortana is. And it can be great help for those who don't want to type or touch the screen or move a mouse, things like that. Let's have a look at our ease of access settings. You can do anything from adjusting the display, making it bigger or smaller, cursor size, things like that. So let's jump back in. One moment. It always takes me so long to get here. Voila. So here's where you can update your Cortana settings if you'd like to use that. And then ease of access. So this is to adjust it to just the way you like, which I'm a big fan of. I like customizing things. So you can start off with, for example, display size. You can even adjust it to make your display much larger. It will extend over the screen, but if you've got a small screen and you need to see a lot closer, it's a great thing to do. I also have later on a tip for using the magnifier tool, and that can be great for just on the fly. You go, that's very small text, let me zoom it in, or I want to see the details of that picture, let me zoom in, things like that. So I'll show you how to use that in a bit. You can change transparency and things like that. So for example, this screen here, I mean, it's very specific stuff. Transparency may not bother most people, but some people might find it distracting. So I can kind of see my image in the background behind it. So it's very, very specific stuff. Cursor and pointer size is what I want to look at first. You can adjust the size of your pointer, which is what this little mouse cursor is, as well as the color of the pointer. So mine will alternate between, if you can see here, when I click this one, alternate between black, and then it'll show you where you're hovering over the actual box, word, whatever you're hovering over, it won't cover it. Especially, this is great if it's a very large cursor. If it's small, it's really not much of a difference, but a large cursor can block off some text, or you won't be able to see behind it, so that's a great setting for that one. Let's go back to our normal size. Oh, a black cursor, why not? And you can also show your touch feedback. Many Windows 10 devices can go between having a touchscreen and using a keyboard and mouse or a trackpad. So they give you all these extra touch point related settings. Magnifier, so we'll look into this again later, but you can press the logo key and the plus symbol to turn a magnifier. So I'll do that now and give you a bit of a taste. Now I don't know if you can see this. I might have to adjust this later. I think I'll have to show you later. For me at least, it's zooming very large on my screen and I can read everything. I think I'll leave that as magnifier. You can change the zoom level from when you open magnifier, things like that. Color filters, a lot of fun. For those who have eye impairments or just different ways of seeing color, you can adjust. So if you've got, I can't read these properly. I don't want to say them wrong either. I'll just let you read them. If you have a certain eye condition, that means you see colors differently. You can adjust your screen to make it a lot easier to differentiate between those colors. Something like red-green color blindness or color distortion can be quite distracting. So having it adjusted on your screen can make for a much easier viewing experience. So those are the color filters. So we can flick through. I don't know if this changes for you. Again, it's my screen shifting, but the recording might be separate. Very cool. Very cool. I'll leave them off for now. Go back to normal. Okay, that is fun. I like that a lot. I like having the option to do that. It's great fun. So you can go from anything from having a high contrast. So if you find that you're having trouble just viewing things because they're too muted in color, you can increase the highlights. There you go, high contrast. That's what mine's got going on. Anything from narrating text that you've got on the screen. You can change the speed of the narrator, the accent, things like that. Brilliant if you're hard of sight, but would still like to read finer text. Great for terms and conditions, if you like reading terms and conditions. Audio, adjusted as you go. You can first start off by adjusting your normal volume, but then you can change which ear maybe the sound favors. If one is stronger, one is weaker, you can adjust it to balance. That's it. Oops. Hello, okay. Sorry, looks like I turned my microphone off for my presentation, so I won't keep clicking those things. Interaction, so speech. So when starting dictation, so dictating your text, speech to text, you can update these. Update Cortana, see how your keyboard is going. Things like sticky keys will let you, I actually don't know what sticky keys are. I've not had to use them before. Very cool. Making it easy to type. I'm just pointing out things now, look. As well as mouse speed, mouse control. Eye control is very cool. Most computers don't support eye control. You kind of have to have a specialist computer if that's something you need. But I think it's a brilliant idea, being able to look at something and sort of indicate that's what you want to open or move, and it will, because it can track what your eyes are doing. Very, very cool. Again, cursor, pointer size, and you can change your cursor thickness. So when you're highlighting something or when it's blipping, I think it's going to blip here, blink, 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 you can adjust that as well. So you can have it very, very fine or very, very big. So very good if you're deep into writing and would like it to be more comfortable on a computer. Okay, so those are our general ease of access settings. You can really play around with a lot of this, adjust it to your liking. If you find something is a bit cumbersome to work around, you can definitely find a setting to adjust that and to fix it to what you'd like. Yeah. So I love how customizable Windows computers are. Definitely more customizable than Apple Macs, and far more settings. And I say more functionality. Apple computers are really catching up with Windows stuff. But there's still a lot more that Windows can do, especially in terms of programming and more high-tech things. So let's have a look at managing your files. You may not have known that the context menu is the menu that comes up when you right-click. I didn't know it's called a context menu, and now I do. So you learn something every time. Using your context menu, you can arrange icons, you can change the size of icons, things like that. What I'll do, let me open up another share screen, just because I love share screen. We'll do it here. So you can see the presentation still. So if I were to bring over, this is our Be Connected schedule for June. It's a PNG file. You can tell by this little window that opens by itself. I just call them hover windows. I'm sure they have a proper name, like context menu has a name. So you can do anything from, let me bring it a bit more so you can see. Anything from changing icon arrangement and size, and then sorting your files by name, item type, or date. And you can create new folders by clicking the right click on the desktop. So let's right click on this image and look at all of these settings we can choose, all these options. Open being the main one. Double click, of course, is open to open a file. That's how you normally do it, but you can do it by clicking right click, left click, for example. You can edit an image, print it, scan it for viruses, open it with a certain, let me bring it up, sorry. I'm sure this isn't showing the whole thing. Bring it back over. You can do anything from like copying and deleting, renaming it, moving it around, several different things. You can even look at properties. Properties is quite fun. You can have a look at things like when it was made, when it was modified. Very cool. But what we're looking at today is managing your files. So let me see if I can extend this out. Much better, much better. Can you see my face? Hello. Yes, very good. Okay, I'm liking this. So from here, we can start doing things like creating new folders. A few little clicks to note is that you'll see that as you move around your programs or your files, documents, they will lock to a grid. If you're one that likes a bit more fluidity in design, you can right click right in the window. So again, I'm not sure if you can see this. I hope you can. I'll go back and check later. You right click just on the desktop, anywhere on the desktop, as long as it's not on an image or anything like that, or a document, and you can get a view option. So view starts off with having, okay, how big do you want your icons? Oh, I want large icons, like so. Or I can change them to much smaller icons, very petite. Barely can read the name because they're so small. Let's go back to medium. And you can change the arrangement. So you've got auto arrange as an option, meaning that it'll snap to a grid by itself, which I've got turned off at the moment. And you can also have them unaligned to a grid. So currently they're aligned. So if I click it again, it'll take the tick off and I'll be able to move them wherever. So if you don't mind a little bit of a haphazard setup, you can do it that way. If you much prefer a bit more order, you can leave on align icons to grid. Let's see, what else have I noted here? Creating new folders, here we go. And you can even personalize and update display settings from the screen as well, which is quite cool. But if we highlight, if you roll over, so hover over the new, we can add a new folder, new shortcut. Shortcuts are essentially ways to get to a folder. So opening a folder will open the front page of your folder. So open it up, it will show you all of your files. You may have separate folders within folders, and you can go down quite like a bit of a ladder, essentially, going through different folders and figuring out where something is. If you're very organized and you don't want to always be clicking all the way through certain pages to get to where you want to be, you can create a shortcut which will open up the file no matter how deep it is in an organization system. And you can make a desktop shortcut this way. It also just lets you jump right into making a Word document. Brilliant. You can have start from just from the home screen. Don't even have to look at your icons, your programs. You start right from the home screen. We'll make a new folder here. So it starts off with a little manila folder, little vanilla, sorry, it's yellowish. And you can type a new name. The way to type a name is just to click it once. There you go. Nothing too crazy. So we'll just say be connected. That's my new folder. You'll notice that it's empty. So when I open it, this folder is empty. And the little icon does indeed show it empty. The cute thing about these is that as you fill them up, you'll see more and more little pages appear. So I pop in my Be Connected schedule by clicking and dragging and then hovering over, you can see it says move to Be Connected. If I drop it in there, we'll see if it turns up. If it's not full enough. It's definitely in there. That's nice to know. Okay. Doesn't want to have the little graphic. That's fine. I imagine it's more when it fills up a bit further, possibly. I don't know. It would have been nice if it worked. Oh well. Let's jump back to our PowerPoint, which we've got partially shown. There we go. And again, we mentioned right-clicking on a program, a document to view more options, and there's quite a few. So don't be afraid to click around and see what you can do there. A little word of warning, be careful if you click move to trash or delete. And you can just hit a straight delete key on your keyboard to delete things. So delete is here. Something like a Mac or a Apple computer, you'll have to highlight and click move to trash. Of course, it's called a recycling bin on Windows, which is just so sweet. But the way you can do it, you can just hit delete. If you find yourself deleting something accidentally, check your recycle bin. If it's not there, or if you can't find your recycle bin at the time, hit Control Z. Control Z is universal on Windows to mean undo. So Control Z, like pressing it at the same time, or like holding one, pressing it, all going at the same time. Control Z, going backwards, and then go forwards to redo is Control Y. So Y, Z. Not sure why those are the keys, but I do appreciate how close they are in proximity. Makes it very easy to go, whoop, undo, very quick. That's just a little tip if you're not used to using undo and redo. Shall I also talk about copy and paste? That seems important. If you're looking to copy and paste something, say a line of text, a web link, a whole document, it's Control C, so copy, and then Control V is paste. Not sure why V, but it is right next to C. So that could be the reason. So Control C, Control V, copy, paste. Just on the tip if you're unaware. It's good to know stuff. I use it every day, all day. Let's have a look at our tips and tricks that we've got available. First, we're going to be having a look at Task View. Task View is new to Windows 10, and I did mention that we're going to be doing some new to Windows 10 specific things. So what I'll do, I'll just open up a program in the background so we have something to look at. There we go, I've got a couple things going now. Brilliant. Let's close this off. Here we go. So, Task View. You'll notice that it's right beside your search bar at the bottom of the screen. So, once again, we'll do a new share. I'll do a full screen share now. So you can see, I believe, yes, you can see my whole screen. You can see I've got my little myself in the corner. You can see I can see my PowerPoint. In the background, I've got my settings set up just so I was ready to show you. But now you can see my workspace is becoming a little cluttered. I've got a few things going on. It's getting a little bit much, a lot of space going on. To view everything that you've opened and have open in the background, including minimize things, like this document here, this image, you can click Task View. Bottom bottom of the screen, I was just saying, where am I indicating to? Bottom of the screen comes up as Task View. It sort of just looks like a little scroll wheel moving beside a couple rectangles, essentially. So let's open that up. Sorry, just one click required. I'm not sure if it's still recording. You'll have to let me know. If it is, awesome. I am messing around with a lot of settings on Windows, so we'll see how this goes. It brings up everything that we've got open currently, and we'll let you open them with an easy click. And you minimize that. Another one to keep an eye out for is snap windows side by side by dragging them to the side of your screen. This makes your workspace a little more ergonomic. It means you can see everything at once. You can see that I've already got 2 layers of documents, and say if I want to work with them side by side, I would just hold one and drag it toward the side of the screen. You'll notice a very small sort of translucent box jumping out, and it cuts the screen in half, which means that it'll lock the screen there until you drag it away, of course, but it's perfectly half the screen. And say I want to open up this document here. Say if I was working off a Word document and then needed an Excel spreadsheet to reference off of, something like that, or if I'm photo editing and I want a series of photos on one side and an email that I'm sending them through on one side, the other side, you can do it that way. So this is essentially screen snapping, just snapping documents or open windows to either side of the screen. I believe you can do it a third time. Let me just see. Yes, there we go. So you can essentially segment it to a point where you probably can't see anything because it gets very small, but you can have many windows working in parallel and locked in a nice sort of more ergonomic design, as I said. So let's close this off. Don't need that. Don't need that. Again, I'm just pulling them away and they pop back to their original size. Excellent. Let's jump back to the PowerPoint. I know you can see it here, but let's just look at the PowerPoint. Less overwhelming. So that's snap to windows. Snip and sketch. I have a little example of what snip and sketch looks like when it's taking a snip. Snip and sketch is the newest name for the snipping tool. So if you type right into your search bar, you can just type snip. You'll see which version you have. It could be snip and sketch or snipping tool. The computer I have right now has snipping tool. Let me once again change to, this is snipping tool. Sorry, it's so small. It'll let you create a new snip, meaning that it'll cut in a rectangular size. It'll save the image or it'll open it up and then say, where would you like to save this snip? The snipping tool is essentially a way to do screen sharing or, sorry, print screen, which I think you can still use print screen, but I'm not sure which keys activate it. So the snipping tool is a far more refined version of that. And you can even edit the snip once you've done it. You can add little bits of text. You can scribble on it, either with a mouse, your finger, or a pen, and then save it to where you'd like. It's pretty good. I use snip and sketch all the time. I used it to put these little, actual images into my PowerPoint. I snipped the view of what it looked like on my screen and then popped it on in. Excellent, so that's snip and sketch. Let's have a look at zoom in on your screen with the magnifier tool. Again, all of these can be accessed with the Windows key and then whatever I've supplied here. So Windows Shift and S lets you just take a snip right away. No need to click open an app. So Windows key, Shift S, and then you can just click away if you don't want to keep it open. The next one to check out is zoom. So zoom onto your screen with the magnifier tool. Sorry to get you confused. We are watching Zoom, but I'm talking about the magnifier tool, which does zoom. Hit the Windows key, so hold Windows and then hit the plus sign. So in bold, I've got plus sign there. And that will activate the magnifier tool. This will let you zoom your whole screen in, and then as you move your mouse around, your screen will follow the mouse so that you know kind of where you are on the screen. And if you're scrolling through something, it can still be quite large, but you can still move around your screen and feel comfortable that way. So give zoom a go if you're interested. Sorry, magnifier. Next is just sort of a little extra slice on the side if you're interested. You can add emoji symbols to your text. If you find that you miss the good old feel of putting a smiley face at the end of an email and you don't want to just type in the cute little, as I've got it here, all the little symbols with brackets and colons and things like that, you too could have the sweet yellow faces of emojis. To access this, you'd hold down Windows key and then press a full stop, so a little period, right next to Shift and then / and then it's the full stop. Yeah, so that's how you find an emoji keyboard, and from there you can add in as many emojis to your heart's content. I just think that's really sweet that they included that. All right, so we blazed through pretty well, 50 minutes or so. That's about 40 minutes, we're fine. Excellent. If we have any questions, please pop them in the chat. They can be anything, they can be wild, just let me know. I will pause for a second and wait for those. Thanks. Okie doke, shall we continue? Let's move through. So City of Marion Libraries, staying connected, I just read the title. So stay connected with us. If you'd like to get more information about what we do, jump onto our Facebook page or Instagram. We are at City of Marion Libraries. If you don't have a Facebook or Instagram, you can jump onto our What's On page on our City of Marion Council website. Go into venues, libraries, What's On, and Be Connected will be there, as well as many other programs, things that Tracy do, Ben and Emma have their Bricks and Bites. There's lots going on, lots of fun, good to check out. And it's really, really nicely done, so it looks good. You can subscribe to our Library Loop newsletter. That's a newsletter that we send out monthly, so you only get one a month. I mean, if you like that sort of thing. And we keep you up to date with upcoming events, current things we've got going on, announcements, things like that. So it's nice to have. Library Loop can be found on the online catalogue, and you just find it on the left-hand bar, and it has a list, and Library Loop will come up, and you just pop in your email, and we'll send you an email each month. Pardon me. You can also visit a branch now. We're open. You can come see us. We're open Saturdays now as well. Monday to Friday, 9:30 till 5. And then on the Saturday, 10 till 4. Come see us or give us a call. So you can call us at our Hallett code number, Cultural Centre Parkcom, wherever you like to ring. I've got our Hallett code number here, 8375-6755. Give us a call and we'll have a chat. We can book you into something or just say hello. That's nice as well. Thank you, everyone. Once again, we've had a lovely, successful Be Connected session. I hope to see you in the next one. I hope you all have a lovely day, and yeah, I'll see you next time.